So The Odyssey was written and directed by Christopher Nolan and stars a whole bunch of people, including Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, Zendaya, Charlize Theron, John Bernthal, John Leguizamo, Bill Irwin, Samantha Morton, Mia Goth, Benny Safdie. A whole bunch of people appear in this movie. And if you don't know the story of the Odyssey, it's about the man Odysseus. He is the king of Ithaca, and after the Trojan War, he finds himself on this perilous journey to try to get back home and encounters several things along the way. So this is a movie that, when I first heard about it, I was a little skeptical. Now, Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite filmmakers out there. I do love the majority of his movies. I do think he is a very fascinating filmmaker, and I'm actually really glad that we have a filmmaker like him out there who's making movies that, a lot of people wouldn't try to make, but he does it in a way that people actually want to see it. And I'm actually really glad that people are actually seeing this movie. And also, when I heard he was doing the Odyssey, though, I was actually very skeptical because the Odyssey is a story that has been done to death. It's a story that is not really that new. So what can Nolan bring to this that other filmmakers haven't actually done before? Can he bring his own spin to it? Can he make a Nolan movie? And he does. He does really make a Nolan movie out of the Odyssey. It's a very well crafted movie. It's a movie that I think has a lot of great sequences, a lot of great performances, a lot of great ideas that are brought up in this movie. And I would say it's definitely worth watching. And if you can see it on a big screen, definitely do it. I did not see it on the biggest screen possible, but next week I'm going to try to see it in IMAX 70mm. So let's start off with the acting. Nearly all the actors in this movie are fantastic, particularly Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Samantha Morton, Bill Irwin, John Leguizamo, Corey Hawkins, Himesh Patel. All those people that I mentioned, I think those were all the standouts. Matt Damon in particular, I thought he was really good as Odysseus. Tom Holland, at first I was thought he was kind of not that strong as Telemachus, but you kind of see throughout the movie, it's okay, so he's getting stronger as the movie goes along. So I guess that kind of made sense. Anne Hathaway, who plays Penelope, I thought she was really good in this movie too, as she's dealing with how, the fact that her husband's been gone for so long and how she's trying to hold on to things that, women at that time did not really have a chance to hold on to, and I thought her performance was really good as well. Robert Pattinson, he's kind of chewing the scenery for the most part, but it's still kind of a fun role for him. Samantha Morton and Bill Irwin, who are people that Matt Damon encounters in this movie, are really good. Samantha Morton is very subtle with her performance. Bill Irwin is also very subtle, where it's I actually kind of should have realized, oh, that was actually someone doing that. And I thought he was really good. When you see what he's doing, yeah, it's fantastic. John Leguizamo has a brief role in this movie, but I thought he was really good for what he was doing. Corey Hawkins is one of Robert Pattinson's friends in this movie, and I thought he was kind of chewing the scenery as well, but I thought he did a good job. Himesh Patel is one of the soldiers that's with Matt Damon's character throughout the entire movie, and I thought of all the soldiers besides Matt Damon, I thought he stood out the most. As far as all the other technical categories go, the cinematography by Hoyte van Hoytema, really gorgeous, really stunning. Nearly every shot is just gorgeous. And that's kind of, anytime Christopher Nolan makes a movie, it's the cinematography is going to be gorgeous, but this one is definitely incredible. I can't wait to see this movie in IMAX. And I will say the score by Ludwig Göransson is also very well done. There are definitely some very somber, some slow moments, but when there's action sequences, it actually builds up pretty well. The score during the last scenes of this movie, wow. Also, there are so many great sequences in this movie. The scene involving Cyclops, the scene involving Circe, the sequences involving the Trojan horse. There's also another scene in the graveyard, and also the final sequence of this movie, which, if you know the story of the Odyssey, then you kind of know exactly what I'm talking about. But this movie is it continues to just try to top itself and just continues to just do incredible things throughout the entire movie. The action scenes themselves are also really well done as well. There's some scenes where it's some battle sequences that are really cool and really fun and such. And also, just the overall scope of this movie, I was just in awe of. Nearly every, I get that Nolan, one of the things I like about Nolan is that he tries to do everything practically. And I feel you can definitely feel that while watching this movie. That you definitely feel all these people are actually there doing all this crazy stuff, and you're just and sitting there in awe of just being I can't believe they actually doing all this. It's incredible. There are also some moments of this movie where it was actually kind of scary, mainly the Circe and Cyclops moments. I definitely felt those moments in this movie were definitely pretty creepy, and Nolan has talked about wanting to do a horror movie in the near future. Honestly, after watching this movie, and I definitely feel he should. Because, also with Oppenheimer, there were some horror sequences in that movie. Well, maybe not sequences, but, ideas where it's like I kind of thought of a horror movie while watching it. And I feel like this is another good companion piece. This is a very good companion piece to Oppenheimer in a lot of ways because it's dealing with a lot of the same issues about how we have failed about our way of thinking and how that's affected the way our world is. And we gotta change things and before it's too late and such. It's definitely very interesting, but this movie also just has a lot of things that it is talking about. And a lot of interesting ideas about power, about legacy, about leadership. There are a lot of intriguing ideas throughout this entire movie, and when I see it again, I hope to find more of that. And I do think that's really cool. There's a lot of things that are going on in this movie, and even though the movie is also 3 hours long, I never felt the pacing of this movie. This movie eventually grabs hold of you, and I will say that it's a plus, like because like each act does get better than the last one, and by the end, it's just mind blowing. So, what don't I like about this movie? Well, a couple things. Now, I mentioned that each act does get better. I will say the first act is a little slow because like it's all just kind of set up and it's just kind of like saying, okay, this is what we know of the story itself. Also, I felt like some actors were not really used well. Lupita Nyong'o, I feel bad because obviously the controversy surrounding this movie, I feel like it's really, really stupid, and I'm so annoyed by it. And I just feel like this movie itself, I feel like her characters in this movie don't really get a whole lot to do, unfortunately. And it's a shame because she's a great actress, and I just wish she got more to do. Zendaya is also in this movie. When you kind of see like how she kind of configures into the movie and such, it's nice. It's actually very well done, but I also wish her character was in it a little bit more. Charlize Theron, I feel like, could have been in this movie. Actually, she was in this movie a lot more than I anticipated her being in. And also, I feel like they could have done a little bit more with her take on this character. Also, the gods in this movie are not really in this movie because it's a Nolan movie. It's going to try to be as realistic as possible, so you're not really going to have the gods in this movie. And I get what he was trying to do, but you could have at least had something else. They do a few things with Zendaya's character, but other than her, they don't really do much else. And also, there are some sequences, like particularly on the boats, that I admittedly did not get on board with. No pun intended. But I definitely felt like there were some moments where it's like, okay, big deal, you're shooting on a boat. What's the big deal about this? And then as some of the scenes go on, it's like, okay, I can see how intense this whole thing was. And admittedly, there were a couple times where I was laughing. And I don't know if that's really the best. Like, sometimes where it's like maybe a line of dialogue was said, and it's like, okay, that's kind of funny, and like, I don't know if that's like funny intentionally or not. And also, I kind of did that thing where it's like, if something was said in a specific way, I kind of thought of another movie. And like, it's that thing from CinemaSins where it's like, he shows the movie and then like features audio from like something that's kind of similar. I kind of felt that way too. Like, there's like one moment where it's like, oh, they're running away from something. And admittedly, I kind of thought of like Run Away from Monty Python, the Holy Grail. I don't know why, but it's not a bad movie. In fact, it's a really good movie. Honestly, it's one of my favorite movies of the year. I'm not sure yet if it's one of my favorite Christopher Nolan movies, but it's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. And I'm definitely excited to see this again, particularly in 70mm IMAX. And if you got a chance to see it in that format, I am jealous, and I can't wait to do it next week. So, The Odyssey. Pretty much all the actors do a fantastic job. Again, Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson. Pretty much everyone in this movie does a fantastic job. The cinematography, the score, the scope of this movie are just jaw-dropping. The great sequences throughout this entire movie, the action scenes, the horror elements, and also a lot of the ideas that they're just kind of playing around with. And I feel like all of them kind of work very well. And also, even though I don't really like some things, like how they handle some actors, and also I feel like they could have used some things a little bit differently or done a few different, could have used the gods a little bit differently. And also, I kind of didn't like the boat scenes at first, but it wasn't until I got into the movie more. And also, it can, the first act is a little bit rough, but it does get better as it gets going. And by the end, it is incredibly worth it. I will say The Odyssey is definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. I will give it 3.5 out of 4 stars. See it. So, what is your favorite Christopher Nolan movie? I probably asked that before, probably when Oppenheimer came out, but how would you rank his movies? He's got a bunch of them now. Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.